4 years ago today, the Conservatives and Boris Johnson won a stonking landslide victory over Jeremy Corbyn's socialist cabal. Who could forget these scenes?
Let's unite this country. Let's spread opportunity to every corner of the UK with superb education, superb infrastructure and technology. Let's get Brexit done. But first, my friends, let's get breakfast done too. Thank you all.
But at 8 a.m. this morning, there was a very different mood at a very different Tory breakfast club. Before sunrise, the current Prime Minister Rishi Sunak tried to woo hard-hitting MPs from the new Conservatives group, which included Lee Anderson, Miriam Cates, Danny Kruger and Jonathan Gullis. There were reports that the PM had even laid on smoked salmon for the vital summit. Later in the day, it was confirmed he provided humble bacon butties instead. Sunak won't push the boats back, and he failed to even push the boat out here, didn't he? But meanwhile, before the morning was out, Keir Starmer was smugly revelling in the chaos despite not having a coherent plan himself.
Well, this is what the Tories fail to understand about it. Yes, Brexit was a vote for lower immigration. Of course it was. 7 years they've had to make Brexit work. But every time they run up against a choice between raising skills and working conditions or issuing more visas, they choose the higher migration option. And it's not an accident. It's who they are. They're not interested in earning your vote. They feel entitled to it.
Well, it is becoming increasingly difficult to argue with that, isn't there? Then there was some confusion as to whether or not recently resigned Immigration Minister Robert Jenrick might actually vote for the same bill that he quit over. After a quick chat with Robert, I broke the news that he was not going full reverse ferret. He would not be voting for the Rwanda Bill tonight in its current form. Then, at 3 p.m, leaders of the New Conservatives, Danny Kruger and Miriam Cates, published in The Telegraph, "This Rwanda Bill will not let us take back control. You should have bought the smoked salmon, Rishi, shouldn't you? Or maybe a bit of caviar, maybe a little bit of champagne." But then out of nowhere, in come the DUP. MP Sammy Wilson leading the charge. There is a real danger that Northern Ireland will become a gateway for illegal immigration if this bill were to become law. Then, in another ridiculous twist, Sunak summoned his climate minister, Graham Stewart, to fly back from the climate conference COP28 in Dubai so that he could lodge his vote before he flies back again. That would be a 7,000-mile round trip, pumping carbon dioxide into the atmosphere so that he can back a policy that gets more flights in the air. You love to see it. There were even rumours that the government was threatening to remove the whip from anyone who voted against the bill, but quickly changed their minds. And just before the vote, Brexit Spartan, leader of the ERG, Mark Francois, just had to have a little moment in the limelight, didn't he? Remember yesterday he was calling for Rishi to pull the bill? Well, here he is today.
I have just chaired a meeting of what you in the media are now referring to as the 5 families in the Wilson room. We have decided collectively that we cannot support the bill tonight.
Right, well, it's nice to see such a group of patriotic, principled, brave individuals choosing to, check notes here, so, abstain. Well, here's what it all eventually came to in the House of Commons.
The ayes to the right, 313. The noes to the left, 269.
So the ayes have it, unlocked.
The ayes have it, the ayes have it, indeed. The Rwanda Bill passes by a majority of 44, so that's what has happened. We're all up to speed there. OK, we've lived it, haven't we, so far today? Regrettably, a day none of us will ever get back. But what we need to find out now is what's happening right now and what will happen in the next 24 hours or so. And for that, there is nobody better than our political editor, Christopher Hope. Chris joins us now from College Green. Hit me. What's going on?
Patrick, the right is licking its wounds. A 44 majority for the Rishi Sunak government is more than was being forecast earlier. We thought it might be 10s or 20s that support it. What this means is that this bill is much harder for the House of Lords to amend it, once it's got through the Commons. Had it been a very tight margin, that then the peers, no question, would have used that as an excuse to amend the bill when it got to them. So what happens next in the House of Commons is that there's a session of the full House of Commons, a committee of the full House, when they'll look at amending it. It's very clear that Mr Sunak has told the right that they will be allowed to harden up measures that they are unhappy with. Maybe he might to apply a more general notwithstanding clause for all of human rights laws, maybe relating to these arrivals, not just in particular cases. That is an option, but if it goes too far, the One Nation caucus will join forces with Labour to vote it down. It's a real delicate high wire act for the PM. You asked before there in your opening remarks, Patrick, why do these people abstain, not vote against? They're trying to play the long game. They recognise that had they sunk this Rwanda Bill today, it would have been historic and jeopardised the stability of the government. Almost certainly Labour would have gone ahead with a no confidence vote in the government, probably by Thursday, tabling it tomorrow, and Sunak himself could find him out of a job or facing an election, I should say, very, very imminently in January, February. Tories don't want that. They're not mad. They're not turkeys who vote for Christmas. There's no way they'd want that because they're 23 points behind in the polls, left with maybe 135 seats after a February election. That would be madness. So instead, they're playing a game here, Patrick. They're abstaining, withholding support. We reckon of the 37 Tory MPs who abstained, only 8 of them had permission not to be here because they're away on business, they were ill, they couldn't get back in time. So 29 Tory MPs willfully abstained. That is enough to overturn the government's working majority at third reading, and that's what could happen. So those 29 Tory MPs, they're the ones who will be receiving offers for lunch and dinner with the Chief Whip, meetings with maybe Mr Sunak over Christmas in Chequers, lots of mulled wine, try and make them support the measures and make it work.
Yeah, all right. And meanwhile, obviously, the British public just have to sit and hold our breath and deal with the ongoing illegal immigration circus. Christopher, thank you very much. Christopher Hope, our political editor, is putting a right stint from outside Parliament.